You had a relaxing lunch, you are okay, so now you are ready for this session. Actually, the Voice of Students section is, I really care about this session. For me, it's really important because all along these days, we were talking how much the CGU Alliance is made for students and with the students, because students are included in the executive committees. Then we have Student Association as associated partner. And this session, it's really in order to give to the students the voice. And I'm happy to see many people here, not only students, but we have administrative staff, professor. So I think it will be a very interesting and debating session. I know that students prepared a lot for this. But I kindly ask you to, before starting the group discussion, let me start this Voice of Students session by inviting on the stage students coming from a special place. So from the university, from the Live University, Franco University, we'll say the correct name, I'm sorry. But for us, it's an honor, and we are very delighted to have you and all the other representatives from Ukrainian here, because in this difficult time, also what happened last week. So you accepted our invitation, you decide to come, even though what happened, it's really important. So the first voice is, of course, for you. So please come with us. And actually, there were two students, but she will. Okay, sorry, I was opening.
Okay, dear colleagues. Hi, my name is Angelina. I am acting head of Students' Union of our university. You know, usually our work is to make some great festivals, to fight for students' rights, and now we need to know, is it enough our shelters, or do we have like enough water? It's kind of unexpected work for us, but thank you for inviting us. It's a huge honor for us to represent our country and to make our voices, the voice of all Ukrainians, heard. As you know, the recent days have been very through for us, and it's difficult for us to be there, honestly, since we must support our students here, there in Ukraine. And we feel like we should be there, but we are immensely grateful for this precious opportunity. Thank you. And we're glad to work with you, and we feel like we feel your support and the support of each person that present here in this room. Thank you, and I wish all of the luck for our groups today. Yeah. Okay. Thank you again.
Thanks a lot. And actually, my wish is that you come here with the first mobility within ACGU, but as we were discussing, there are a lot of other mobilities, so hopefully you will be invited in all our initiatives, and let's hope you can always freely move to join the CGU Alliance. Yeah, thank you. And now, let's start with the discussion. And before, I want to just let you know how we arrive at this point. So the students meet along this week. On Monday, there was a brainstorming day where they first of all meet each other because they didn't know it. And along all this week, thanks also to the team of Iasi, they made a lot of social activities, but not only that. And at the end, they decide to divide it in 4 groups. 2 have been proposed by the EC2U coordination teams, and other 2 they came out by discussing and following session along the forum. There are 4 groups, as I was saying before, on inclusion and diversities, circular economy, gender inequality, and green mobilities. So let's start with the first one, with the inclusion and diversity. So please, the floor is yours.
Good morning to everyone. My name is Yunus, and I'm going to introduce you inclusion and diversity. So, okay, so we are going to introduce what is for us, or at least for me, diversity. So I think it's all about understanding each other's necessities, each other's mind. And when we talk about diversity, for example, I really think about is what we are receiving from others, what we are gaining from other culture, for other mind, and for all the other aspects that make us in a way more richer. So I'm thinking about, for me, for example, diversity is human richness, because we gain really, really, really a lot, and we can prove it by think here, for example, in 2 days, we have known really, really a lot of people, a lot of way of thinking, a lot of culture, and this is really, really, really incredible. So really, diversity and inclusion is, for me, or at least for us, is all about giving to others, understanding others, and about human richness. And that's what you're talking. And for example, we had a quick session of Q&A. So if you can scan it, and we can talk about it and participate actively. So, for example, what is for you inclusivity and diversity? For us, is human all about giving and receiving and understanding about richness. So please. Okay, so please scan the QR code, and I'll let my colleagues talk about this. Thank you very much.
It's time to be interactive as well.
Okay, so a question that has arisen during our work is how can we increase inclusiveness? But first, when we're talking about inclusiveness, we don't only refer to international students or Erasmus, but also people with challenges, people coming from different ethnic and religious backgrounds, and people with lower resources. I found mainly 3 ways, but there are many more. First, ensuring the representation of minorities and support them to be academically successful. Also, that they can have access to the same scholarships as everyone. Then, enhancing a student's ability to participate in the pluralistic global community that a university should be. And last but not least, ensuring that the university facilitates the access to the buildings and to the services they provide.
And of course, we would also like to know what do you think about how the EC2U Alliance could help with increasing inclusiveness and diversity? Because even though our universities individually have the methods to do it, we also think that as an alliance, all together, we could provide methods in order to do that. And we would also like to know what do you think about this? So we have also an active question for you. And meanwhile, you talk about this. Of course it's true that we have to improve this phenomenon, but there are many methods that the university are already taken into account in order to spread and increase diversity and inclusiveness. For example, we all together have talked about how our different universities have committees, for example, the Gender Equality Committee or the LGBT Committee, and also the Mental Health Committee, in which they provide the help and the sources for the people who need it in order to be more part of the university where they're coming. And of course, we also have to talk about the labor of ESN, the Erasmus Student Network, because thanks to them, they assist to all European, but also people from coming from internationally students with the difficulties that arriving to a new nation and a new university have. So that's a really important labor, what they do. And the most important thing is to be conscious that inclusiveness is not just something theoretical. So the universities are not doing that just to superficially pretend they are doing that, but it's something practical. It's something that people feel, and something that due to the methods that we were talking about, we could do it and of course make this phenomenon better. I think we could read some of the answers. Yeah, with if you take the I information button off, you can read. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you can.
So, for example, we do have here some answers. That's pretty good. So, what can the EC2U audience do to increase inclusivity and diversity? For example, one answer is to raise awareness. For example, yeah, we can definitely raise awareness about how we feel each other, how to content each other, and yeah, definitely let people be themselves. Yeah, of course, because if we are not ourselves, how can we pretend to understand us first, and how can we pretend to understand the others? So the base of knowing each other and to know themselves or self-consciousness is pretty good. So another question is to promote meeting not only to promote meeting Hamilton students of different level. Yeah, we can how inclusivity and diversity. We can definitely have more like talks with each other, more interaction with each other. Definitely. So yeah. And other question I can see. The other question, no, cosa. We got only three answers. That's okay. It's no problem. So inclusivity for you guys, girls and guys, involve everybody into every activity if wanted. Of course, because activities, interactions, groups are the base of social and inclusivity science. So yeah, definitely. And accepting everyone, definitely. We should always welcome. We should welcome other people. For example, we are here. We were strangers. Definitely, we were definitely 2 days, 3 days ago. We were strangers, but now we are a group. We are talking about something that includes us. So this, I think, the EC2U or this forum has well given us inclusivity, because I didn't know him and I didn't even know any of you, even my colleagues from Pavia. Maybe we talk about that because we are coming from different departments. So I think that that definitely this forum has had a clear goal And I really hope that everyone understands that we are here to know each other, to let be what is easy to you. And for me, it's like really understanding you guys and talking about everyone here. Thank you again.
Thank you, everybody. I think that this is like, as you said, it's a first step in order to promote inclusion. Of course, we should to more raise awareness. Maybe also they were discussing about include some maybe positive discrimination when we are doing a mobility call or call for the Asian master degree. We can, try to make the group every time more diverse. Also including people that maybe are disabled with some capacity, less capacity of movement. And actually, a lot of things they were really inspiring what your answered. So thank you to participate also in this active game, let's say, but it was not really a game. And if we just can go on to I want to just to. There was one that was really important for me, and we were like, I should say them. Yeah, get to know the culture involved in the forum better. So this is a suggestion for the next forum for Jena, maybe. It's good because as they were saying, nobody was knowing each other. I mean, we as colleagues, we know, but students, they don't know each other, and it could be better to increase all the inclusion also among themselves. So thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, really.
Thank you very much. Bye.
And now we continue with the circular economy group. So please come on stage, and they will talk on a specific sector about sustainability and circular economy. It will be in particular like how the fast fashion could be increased could be more sustainable. Also in regard of the action of the European Week for Waste Reduction. That is something that we already talked in the plenary council. But let hearing them, because they of course they will not talk only about that. And let's see what works in our university and what should we improve. So.
Okay. Hello, everybody. As Julia said, we will speak about the sustainability and circular economy because we think that is an important theme. And what we did, first of all, we made like a discussion about what our university do for the sustainability. And we found that some universities are more aware about this problem, and others are less aware. In fact, we found that some universities used to do lots of actions about that, and others don't care a lot about that. Care less. Okay. Yeah. I don't want to be unpolite. Just okay. So we saw that the most important things that the university used to do are, for example, this that you can see at the display, like the separate waste. For example, make various containers for plastic, glass, paper, and so on. Other universities, for example, use some photovoltaic and solar panels, for example, for covering some areas, for example, parks for the car, and something similar, or on the roof of the buildings. Other university make free transportation or very low cost transportation, like an annual fee for students that is very cheap and very useful. Other university used to promote the bicycle use, for example, making the possibility for the student to take a bicycle for free with the card of the university. And other university used to promote the vegetarian and vegan diet, and in general, we can say sustainable food. That is a very important theme that could be a solution for the sustainability problems. In fact, as you know, the meat, unfortunately, it's very tasty, but it's very tasty, but it's not sustainable. So that could be a good idea to improve, for example, in the canteens for the students. And other universities are reusing some buildings that are not used as libraries or places for the students to go study and exchange some ideas, make some workshop. Other university, I think we can connect both these last bullets, are buying some water fountains for the students that can, the students and also the staff, the professor, for example, for I have a free water with the university card, and improving the reusable objects, for example, the cups for the coffee and also the bottles for the water. For example, some university gave us a gift for all the students, and that thing can reduce a lot the consumption of plastic, for example. Okay, so after that we asked what we can do. Okay, and that's the question that I will make to you also, because okay, we can discuss a lot, but try to think about your university and what you do in your life, because maybe you found some similarity with your university in those things that I said. Yeah, if you have some ideas, for example, and then we can continue. Yes.
I said that we could have campaigns with the people that offers to be volunteers, so that people that doesn't know what to do for sustainability could learn what to do. I am a bit nervous because a lot of people don't know how to sort their garbage, so they put plastic in others' cans.
Yeah, I will answer. Yeah, it's a good idea, and for example, we will discuss. Okay. Okay, we thought some solution. Okay, for example, one solution that we thought about is because every country has its own rules for the garbage and so on. And for example, some university used to give like a guide for the students for improve this separating waste, because maybe someone that come from another country had other habits and doesn't know how it works in a specific city. For example, in Italy is like this, every city has its own rules, and sometimes it's very difficult because also in some kilometers of distance, the rules are totally different. But yeah, this is a good idea. And about the awareness that you told, okay. we were thinking about a sustainability week. That is an event that already exists and some university used to do. This year will be in this date from 19th to 27th of November. And in this week, okay, I'm sorry. I will give the floor to Elena because I don't want to be the protagonist of this discussion. So the floor is yours.
What is this?
Okay, so we're going to talk about now the Sustainability Week, which is now being held in Pavia. This year is from the 90th to the 17th of November. But what we thought is that we could implement this Sustainability Week in every single university. Yeah, we have to. That's why we really want to talk about it. So in this presentation, we just pointed out the main activities that are going to be held in this week. The first one I really want to talk about is the fashion swap. So for anyone who doesn't know what this activity is about, it's just basically a real life vintage where you can give or take free clothes. This gives them a chance to be worn more times or give them a second life. And also the main thing, like the main goal of this is to stop consumerism of fast fashion, which you all know that really has a bad impact on the planet. And also, I really want to talk about the workshops for repairing skills. These workshops has the goal to basically teach people how to repair common things that easily get broke, such as clothes, bike, or anything you can think about. So it's a really good chance to give them a second chance to be used.
Okay, we are going to talk about as well promoting sustainable food. Like as we said earlier, meat is not sustainable at all, and we need to promote like vegan and vegetarian foods, and also reduce the use of plastic. Like for example, here in the forum, we've had a lot of plastic bottles, so maybe we could like put fountains out there and give us like. I don't know, like a reusable water bottle. Like instead of giving every day plastic bottles, we could reduce that. And also making inclusive activities for citizens and children, like not only for the students of one university, like for everybody, like for all the people of one city. For example, in Salamanca, we could make like all the people from Salamanca come attend to this sustainability week, like, and they can learn this new green way of living and reduce some plastic waste and everything.
Okay, our presentation is finished. If there are other questions or other ideas that you want to exchange with us, we would be glad to make like a small question and answer debate. Yeah.
Guys, well, thank you for organizing this week and promoting that across the universities. And I just want to point out one thing, which was a generalization that was repeated 3 times, which is meat is not sustainable, depending on which meat you're talking about. Because my grandmother always had some rabbits or chicken on the end of the...
Yeah, of course.
And okay, so this, when you organize things and you think about this, be careful in the sense that something might be sustainable in Pavia and might not be sustainable in Salamanca. All right, and so and just have these generalizations are something that, as you are thinking about sustainability, that just have a thought about that. Okay.
Yeah. Of course. I was referring on the like non-sustainable meat that are from the intensive breeding that unfortunately are the big part of the meat. So
when we generalize, we have to think about sustainability in a way of changing the economic scenario, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And when you generalize, you stigmatize. It could be fashion or meat production, right? And this is what the point I'm trying to raise. As you organize this, you have a responsibility to not fill in all the topics, right? So and the science behind things, and not only on the news, right? On the fashion of being sustainable, right? On having a consideration of how things work and how we can change them and impact on society in a way that we're more sustainable, right?
Yeah.
And it's just that I
Yeah,
understand.
no,
I
it's okay, it's
understand
okay. But
fully the generalization, which is true.
yeah.
If you generalize, it's true. It's just a note for you guys that are going to organize it to just think about this as a general.
Yes, the vocabulary is really important. Sometimes we make generalization, or maybe, while speaking, we don't use maybe the correct term. So we will take into account any tips, any advice. So thanks a lot. Yeah. Ah, the other question, sorry. I didn't see it. Sorry.
So I was also in that group working and talking about sustainability. And of course, we know that universities are very different and the countries participating in the ECTU are very different. So of course, something that applies to Salamanca cannot be done maybe in Turku because different conditions and so on. We don't want to talk about meat as something bad, but we shared in the group that some universities offer vegetarian and vegan food and some just doesn't. So I would say, talking about that, it's important to raise awareness, but also give options to students to see, hey, there's an alternative to what I've learned at home maybe. And this is what we talked about regarding food and sustainability. Thanks.
And can I just add, we had a think tank on the topic in EasyToU on circular economy. And if you want to have a look at the results, we have a look at all the cities and universities and all the measures. I think that's a good starting point, or maybe just to work further, because you have everything listed there, all the measures, downloadable on the EasyToU website.
Time for promotion of the think tank.
Yeah, because actually everything is connected, right? Actually, it's more a call because I really personally support that if we could indeed have at the same time in the 7 universities and municipalities this sustainability week, that would be really great. So I personally am very strongly in favor, and I will do everything I can to help. But I think it would be absolutely fabulous if we could have help of all the students to convince all the universities to do it. So I count on you to help us organizing, and so that we can really make a big success. And this could become a continuously organized every year, even if the future, we don't know what it will be, that it really stays. So we want this event to be also sustainable.
Yeah, of course. It could be a great idea. We also thought about to repeat this sustainability week like every 6 months, because it's easy to be sustainable only during the sustainability week, and then start with bad habits after the week. So that's it. Okay, thank you for the attention.
So now let's move on to the third group. That's another very sensitive topic. So let me invite all the students who along these days discussed on gender inequality. So the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. I'm Shuruk from the University of Pavia, and we are the group that will talk about gender inequality. Actually, this thematic group didn't exist. It came up yesterday after the conversation, like the conferences that we had. I think this is a very good starting point. So there is something that wasn't on the list that we want to talk about, and we added it, and it shows that there is something we want to say, and we talked about it. So I think this is a great starting point. So the first slide is the one that I will mainly, how do I, sorry. No. Sure. Okay. So this first slide represents the brainstorming session that we had at the beginning. So we started by talking about what we think are examples of gender inequality in our universities. So it's very diverse, the topics that came up. So from the University of Coimbra, there seem to be a lot of issues with the initiation ritual of the new students and uniforms, etc. But also other topics that came up also during the conference yesterday. So the gender of directors and the figures that are directing the universities generally, which is usually male, and etc. So what we want to mainly focus on is say that, yes, there is progress that has been made in regards of gender inequality, but there is more progress that could be made. So it is not enough to stop and look at our achievements, and we think universities should be more ambitious in reaching a better status of gender equality. And this is because, yes, universities maybe are a bit more independent bodies, so there are regulations that can be put in place, but they're usually also reflecting the societal norms that are in the country. That's why we find differences between the University of Norway and the University of Italy, like we saw yesterday in the data of the full professors, for example. And the university should be the lighthouse of the society, we think, because we can impose some change starting from the university, influencing the general thinking process of the population. So we are gonna talk a bit better, like my colleagues will talk a bit better about what we identified as problems and some possible solutions that, or like other structures and rules that can be implemented to achieve a better gender equality in the university. What we want to hope is for the university bodies to be more ambitious in reaching the goals of the GMD5, which is gender equality, and also the EC2U organization is trying to, it is one of the targets of the EC2U, so we hope we all share this and we can be more ambitious with reaching the targets.
Hello, everyone. I'm Isabelle from the University of Poitiers. So first of all, we would like to identify some problems we talked about in yesterday's session during the preparatory voice of students. So we would like to emphasize, first of all, that some problems are very obvious. For example, as you can see there, we have problems with tradition, field of studies, and stuff that is going to be clearly identified as sexist, for example, when a professor says, does a joke or something like that. So that is something everyone can agree about when you say this is problematic. But there is also something unconscious and cultural that happens because university is a part of our society. So our roles are going to be gendered, and well, that's something we must be aware of. It's not always easy to see, and we shouldn't ignore that. So the example, for example, we took about men talking more than women, that's not always obvious, but you can see that there are often more men in position of power, or that they have less problems talking and being basing that on gendered stereotypes. So these genders' behavior should be taken into consideration, and we should just emphasize that part of the problem because we all have bias and it's important to notice them. So we talked about how awareness must be increased, And the problem also we identified is that most of these topics, when they're treated in universities, it's between groups that are already aware of it largely. Like, for example, the students from yesterday, we're a younger generation, so maybe it's also easier for us. But yeah, people who are going to events to sensibilize people to this kind of subject are mostly going to be women, for example, when we talk about gender equality and other subjects. So we would like to find ways to reach a broader public. And we also talked about the fact that we acknowledge problems, but they're not always being taken care of. And also it is not always enough to say, okay, we have as much women in this deciding organization as men. It's not just about facts and numbers. It's about mentality, and just having one number that is okay, or we have the same salary, is not going to be enough to change the whole society. Yeah, so to finish my part, I would like to say that this is an institutional problem, and maybe it's not directly linked with the university, but we're part of society, we can change things, and we have to accept that we have bias, and we have to work about them, and we can make things change. So now we would like to talk about some solutions we thought about, or some proposals.
Hi, I'm Diogo from University of Coimbra, and we recognize as well that a lot has already been made, but it's needed to do a lot of more. So first of all, we needed to understand that university, as my colleague said, it's like a teaching institution, and we need to use that teaching alma mater, that in order to teach the society ways to make the society understand that the gender equality is not a bubble thing, it's not a male or a girl only gender thing, but it's like a problem that was being perpetuated generation after generation. So first of all, we need to understand geographically, physically, culturally, the needs and the custom that each territory has, because sustainability physically, every territory is different from another territory. So first of all, we need to understand what happened in each territory, and then we will use the university system, first of all, to create codes of conduct, to educate the teachers, to educate the students as well, because now we are very young, and we have access to a lot of information that is useful to us to say, okay, there is a problem here and we need to solve like that. But the older person doesn't have that same access to information, because they are older, they lived more, they have different types of tradition, different types of mind. So we need to work also in that way, in order to use the university to teach and to create like a society, a pact between the young and the old, to create like a bridge between the young generation and the young vision and the old vision, traditional vision, because it's very easy for us to say, if we solve the problem in the university, everything will be solved. But no, because you see, we can try to work in the gender equality in university, but not every girl, not every man will be working in university when they finish our grades. So when they go to the society, they need to submit to the problems of the society. If we work for the society, and if we teach the society how to work, creating junior companies with gender equality systems, creating codes of conduct, creating campaigns, activities to teach them, we can work as well for when the girls and men, because the gender problem is not just a girl or just a man, when they enter in the market to work, when they enter when they seek for jobs, they will be more appreciated by their qualities and not only by their gender or by their political vision. So we also propose that the universities can create like disciplines that are general for all of the students, in order to teach them what has been made, what is the social equality, what is the gender equality, to give them lights about what is the society and the problems in the society, political free of influence, because we know that some political agendas use this problem in order to get more votes and to create that dichotomy between the bad and the good, but also to promote this change in the university. And when we get out of the university, someday we will or not, depends, we had that instrument, that theory, and that practical capacity to implement our vision and our things politically and our own vision free. So it's what we also propose. But we propose a little, also a thing that I remember Roberto said, that is, we need also to open the campaigns and the forums, the conference, to the men, because some gender conferences are just for women, and that creates like, okay, we also can suffer about that. We also suffer about the gender difference, because you know that in society we have a little thing that is work, that is jobs that are mostly for women and jobs that are mostly for men. Like when you think about a psychologist, you always think in a woman, but you can also have a man. But when you think like a guy that an engineer or a politician, it's a job that we think that is more for men than for women. So we need to work in that to take out that barriers that we also promote unconsciously, but to work on that in order to make little changes for the next generation. Our children and our grandchildren can live in a better society, is what we defend. Okay.
Yeah, so we saw mainly that our proposals for change are trying to have stricter code of conducts based on the actual issues that depend and can vary based on the different territories, and have bodies that can regulate better the issues of sexual harassment or in generally any issues linked to gender inequality and needs. And what we want to ask you is not necessarily if you have examples, but like what comes to your mind if when you think about gender inequality, if you're in your university, is there something specific that you would propose as it could be helpful to reach a better status regarding gender equality, or is there a particular issue that you would like to voice out?
Maybe some jobs are mostly for women because men are not interested in them. I mean, we are studying pedagogy and psychology, and our colleagues are mostly women because men are not that interested in this area. But we have also the sports college right next to us, and are mostly men. And I think some jobs and some, I don't know, areas are for women or men because they are interested more in that type of jobs.
I can answer you using, you see, when you go to your parents or to your colleagues and you say, oh, I want to be a competition athlete, I want to be like a football player. If you are a woman, they will say it's not for you. You don't need to do that because you have to do something else. You have to go to a psychologist. You have to be a doctor. And to the men is also the same thing. You see, your fathers and your grandfathers, and also your friends sometimes make that peer pressure, and you don't develop that interest because you are too afraid to fail to them, or you are too afraid to not be accepted in society. So probably in some works and some fields of work, like geography is an example of that, you don't have mostly women or mostly men because it's not a job fitable for them. We try to make that thing perpetuated because it's not a fitable job, but it is. You see, we need to work in that to deconstruct that idea, and then we will be able to say, okay, the men are not interested, not because the society say that it's not for them, but because they aren't interested in that. It's more like that.
I do agree you what you said, but you mentioned football. Men football are mostly more appreciated than women football because it's a, I don't know, it's a field that is, I don't know, it's from more time. It's not that old. I couldn't find my word. It's not that old. And people, you said, parents do tend to pressure you because the society are pressuring them. So you have to be, I don't know, a doctor. You should be a professor or something that are good seen in the society. But I don't think it's on us, not the parents, because if you do want to do football or go to the gym as a girl or be a psychologist, it's mostly for us, not for them. We decide what to do.
No, I think that mainly the issue is that we have a set of bias that come from cultures and traditions that are not so easy even to point out and understand yourself. And that's what he is trying to say. Yeah, sure, nobody will prohibit you from getting into a football team and playing football because you are allowed to do so, but it will be less relevant of an option to you because when you're a kid, mama will mention ballet more often than football, so you'll end up going to ballet school instead. That kind of system. Then I think if we stop on issues like this, we enter a rhetoric that moves away from the main point, because then it's about binarity of gender becomes very, very big, and it becomes like problematic per se. And the diversity and inclusion team could come here and talk about non-binary people and what are we going to do about those numbers and those data, and it will just get more and more intricate. So it is more just about deconstructing the barriers that subconsciously might lead you to a path instead of the other. Then when it comes to numbers, if there's more women doing pedagogy than men, I don't think that per se is an objective number of discrimination or gender inequality. It doesn't have to be that way, in my opinion.
Yeah, deconstructive all the narrative, it's hard, it's difficult, takes time. But as all, let's say, social issues that we are discussing today, I think that with a small step, each time we can, reach to raise awareness to the society and make, voice of male, female, but everybody to be heard without making this so gender issue, so I'd say a big problem, but not because it's not a problem. It's something that it's naturally in our everyday life. And I mean, we can do a lot. Like there was something, I guess, very important and easy to tackle on when you say problem. It's like the first one that was not read, it's gender designation stick even to formal speeches. So just to changing, the word to say you are smart student instead you are beautiful students, it's really something very easy to do it. So we can actually start by doing that, because I think it's something personal that all of us, I think, experience it. So I guess this is really good, to start just with this sentence. We can, maybe in the next forum, we will not read this anymore. It will be great.
Just one last thing that I think maybe is the main takeaway of what we're trying to say is that, yes, we talked yesterday and I asked a question about accountability, and the replies were mostly towards awareness. The more we create awareness, the more we'll be able to tackle the issue. So what we'd like to propose as students is like for the university to try and put more effort in making this awareness actually, like the initiatives for awareness actually fruitful, and not tackle just specific groups, and to extend it to the organizational bodies of the university, so professors and teachers and like all the executive positions. Because we are aware and we're the ones that talk about awareness, and we need to try to make it more inclusive as possible, plus implementing some local initiatives based on the issues that might be present.
So I would say thank you for arriving. Sorry, I didn't. No, but also I wanted to say thank you for the I42 session that raised this this question, this issue yesterday, because actually it's something that we need to discuss more and more. So, oh, sorry, I didn't saw it. Yeah.
Thank you. First of all, I wanted to thank you because I think it was a really great presentation. It was really clear and conscious, and really interesting. So thank you for that. I just wanted to comment on what was said about like men jobs or men studies and girl studies. I actually studied psychology, so I know that in the first year and in the bachelor's degree, we were like, I guess, something like 90% women, so around 10% of men. But then in the end, in master's and in PhD, it was not at all the same. It was more like 50-50. So how come if things were right, I think, and if like psychology is for women, then why the experts and the professors in psychology and the PhD are most of them men and not women? So I think there's something, there is kind of a problem, and then I really agree with you, because even if we thought that like maybe psychology or nursery is for women, then it's not normal that the women study bachelor's and then or they abandon and they do not continue until PhD, or that the professor starts to trust more the boys, and so when they select the students for masters and for PhD programs, they trust more in men. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, thanks for your comment. Like, I think about this too. In my faculty, I study medicine, and even some professors of mine showed some concern about how the classes were becoming mostly women rather than men throughout the years. But then if you look at all the called primario in Italian, how do you say in English? The head of department in the hospital, they're mostly men. Even like the gynecology, which is like 90% by women. And this is about the executive positions and how they're generally men. Also in the university, if you look at it, directors of the university tend to be male. So yeah, it does show the problem in the how do you say, promotion.
Yeah. Actually, this starts right at primary education. Last month, there was a study by the National Institute for Demographic Studies, which showed that basically it's been a long time that it's been a long time that we start to research on where the society starts to differentiate and give norms to women and men. And basically, they show that it starts at the first grade at the primary school in France. Before, in the kindergarten, they show that basically the professors, the teachers, they start to address differently men and women when they start primary school, when they start to read, when they start to conscientize everything. So it does not even start at the university level. It really starts in primary education. We need to change that.
Yeah, for sure. It's very systemic. It starts at the level of the family, the primary education, and everything.
So yeah, yeah, I know. The last question.
Hello, yes. I have a question to all of you guys. Did you ever suffer this gender pressure when you choose your career? And if so, how did you overcome that? Who helped you to overcome that? Did you feel totally free by choosing your career? And how was the importance of having a role model?
I would like to answer about choosing my field of study. I study literature and political sciences, so literature for me has already been easy for people to accept because it's in something more female, in France at least. But I noticed that in my class, we're way more women than men, but weirdly, most of the people who speak in class are the male students, which is not something like it's not their fault or anything, but it's really weird that in a class of more than 50 people, you have maybe 20 boys, I'm not sure. And yeah, 5 of them talk all the time, which is good for them, but then you have maybe only 3 girls that intervene from time to time. So I just wanted to highlight that. I don't know if
you guys?
I mean, I study medicine, and it's, I mean, very accepted now, I guess, for women to study medicine. But I felt a bit the pressure in choosing my specialty, so I'd like to do emergency medicine. And any person I've talked with that I said I want to do emergency medicine brought up the topic of kids. I'm neither married, not planning on kids anytime soon. So, like, this is something that, for example, is happening. Of course, the presence of role model helped a lot, generally speaking. Also, when choosing university, I was also between engineering and medicine. I ended up choosing medicine for personal reasons and everything, but maybe if I had stronger role models in other fields, I would have considered them more. So I do think having role models is a very, very important factor.
Me, okay. I can tell you my own story. You see, I chose geography, but when I talked to my grandmother, my father's mother, that I went to geography, she just tell me that you're a man. You're supposed to be in law school or economy school, not in geography schools. Geography is for women. Your teacher was always a woman. Why you are choosing geography? She told me literally that, and she has just 70 years old. So I choose anyway geography, but sometimes, time to time, my grandmother says like, "Oh, you are still in geography. Did you not quit? Your friends are almost just girls. Did you not quit? Why?" And I have to say, "Oh, my teacher is a man," and she said, "Yes, but your teacher is a geologist, not a geographer." So it's more like that. And I also want to make like a little challenge for all of us. That is, try to be an ambassador of the gender equality in your school, in your life, in your family, because sometimes just because there are our family, our friends, we pass like a rubber in their opinion, but their opinion will influence on others' opinions, and in the time to vote or in the time to speak, they will tell a wrong opinion. Then sometimes we need to deconstruct that by teaching what we have learned. And I think that in this forum we have learned a lot about circular economy, diversion, and we need to be also an ambassadors of that and not just talk, because we have in Portugal a traditional speech that say the words, it's the wind take the words. So if we just talk, we cannot do anything. So we need to work in that, to literally practice and to implement our ideas. So if you go to your school and see a friend or a
Thanks
teacher,
a lot, because sorry, but this group is talking. It's a very interesting topic, but we have another group, and then also there is the closing of the forum. So if some of the guys who never talk have something, but really quickly, if you wanted to share your opinion, but really, really 1 minute. No? Okay. So if it is okay, we thank you a lot,
Thanks for the
and we
attention.
move to the other group. Because about equality, each group should have the same time of amount, otherwise. But it's good because we understood that we need to discuss about this topic maybe also in another moment. So let's go to the green mobility. It's a topic that was discussed also on the first day on the higher education roundtable. It was discussed in the forum of Pavia. So if it's still ongoing discussion about this, maybe it's because it has not been done enough actions. So let's hear again what the students have to say. Hopefully it will be the last time, because maybe we are doing something, so we will talk on other things. But it's good to keep continuing the moment and discuss about this good challenge.
Hi, everyone. Okay. We are going to talk to you about green mobility, and we have decided to think about European mobility. Indeed, related to traveling, we often think of taking the plane. ECTU is a good example because a lot of students, the majority of students, come in Romania by plane. So because it's simpler, faster, and cheaper. But the plane pollutes 5 or 30 times more than the train. So we thought about a way to offer the train as a means of transport to travel seamlessly. So, as I suggest, the train is not our first idea when we want to go in another country. That's what came out of our conversation. Although, as seen during the roundtable on green mobility, 75% of Erasmus students took the plane. So we noticed that almost no one had shared for another option to come here. And those who have shared third have find disadvantage. The travel time took several days and require booking an hotel. And it's the same thing for the price. For example, to come here from French, the train ticket was 4 times more expensive than the plane ticket. So now I give you the floor.
Okay, yes, the argument about that the plane is faster than the train for sure stands for the long and the middle distance. But when it comes to the short distance, for example, between Frankfurt and Paris, the train already might be faster or even needs the same time to reach the city. And yeah, if you compare the travel times between taking a plane and the train, you have to be really honest with the time you are able to save, because the train connects two city centers with each other, while airports are only near to big cities. So when you take a plane, it's probably necessary to take a bus or a train to another city and then go to the airport, wait there until the boarding, and then after you landed at the final destination, then you have to take a train to get in the city as well. So maybe the time saving you have is smaller than expected. Furthermore, I want to add that there's a rising number of night trains in Europe, especially the night jets from Austria are rising, and they connect Central Europe every night. And it's possible to sleep inside those trains, not in a chair, in real beds. So it can be an option to take a night train because it's more relaxing when you can sleep in the night instead of sitting in a small chair in a plane. Yeah, and so you maybe need some longer time to travel, but you are more relaxed when arriving your final destination because you could find some sleep in the train. The last problem I want to talk over is that it's quite hard to find the train connections between multiple countries, and it's even harder to buy the tickets for that. So I tried to get to Romania from Germany by train, and it was quite hard to buy the tickets I needed. So I looked on the German website of the train company, and they told me a lot of connections, but I couldn't buy the tickets for that because they only sell tickets in their own country. So from Vienna, I would need to change the website and go and buy a new ticket from another website, and that was quite annoying. So maybe it could be an option to have to invent a really good website so that you can find the train connection and also can buy the tickets at one website. And there are already many of those websites for planes like Flüge.de, Opodo, Skyscanner. So it would be necessary to have the same website for trains to make it more comfortable to look for train connections and buy the tickets over there. Thank you.
Okay, so once we talk about the issues of choosing green mobility, when possible, it's time to speak about what is our proposal to make train more attractive. First of all, we need to create a proper guide, but a guide that is easy to use and attractive to compare all the possible routes, and we will do this by gathering all the information about the schedules, but not only about timetables, of trains, but also of timetables of planes and buses, so you can compare everything. And also we will include the footprint of each mean of transport, so it's up to your decision to see to pollute less or more. The second proposal we are introducing is, well, this is not something that we are introducing new, because when we think about the first idea that we thought about when we wanted people to use train instead of the plane was giving them money. This is not a really new measure, but there is an aspect that we would like to introduce, that is like a reward system in which you are not obtaining money, but a discount on a train ticket. I mean, if you go from one place to another by train instead of plane, you will obtain maybe a 10% of discount in your next ticket. Finally, our last proposal is the one that we think that can encourage people to choose the train instead of the plane, because the main point of this presentation is to encourage students to do it, because when we think about going to a country, the first idea is going by plane, because, sorry, we're saying because, okay. When we think about movies or documentaries, we always watch people in planes, and let's face it, it's really cool to own a plane while flying, it's really fancy, but we need to change that mentality, because going on a train is also a really good experience, and sometimes it's better. How are we going to encourage people? By doing a small documentary or advertisement in which people are traveling from one country to another and sharing their experiences. And in that way, students will see that it's possible and that it is a good experience for them. Now.
Yes, right now we are in Iasi in Romania, a beautiful country, but to be honest, it's far at the edge of the European Union. But in May 2023, my home university in Jena will host the next EC2U forum, and it's quite in the center of Europe. So the question to the audience would be if somebody of you might consider taking bus or train to come to Jena in the next spring. Maybe we can have some people who can say why or why they maybe not consider to take bus or train the next time.
Hello, good morning to everyone. Yeah, probably because from Pavia we can easily go with the bus, with the Flixbus, so it's near. Yeah, and it's a great value going to the bus and don't waste anything in the environment. So yeah, we could do that definitely.
Okay, maybe a question to you. So you said you're considering going by train or bus to Jena. Would you find it supportive if you get some financial reward, or do you think it would be nice to have like a system to support that, giving people more money or offer them something?
Yeah, I think that we could get incentives, so maybe we can find other way to transport ourselves in many cities. So definitely, if there's a possibility, or it's like giving incentives like that about thinking more about environment and like stuff like that, it will be really great actually. But I really think that my question is why we are not, because obviously when we are going, we think always about the plane because it's expensive, as you said, and it's super cheaper, sorry, and going by train or bus is not super expensive, it's more expensive here actually. So I think it can be doable if there should be politics about helping about thinking about environment and transportation actually. So yeah, my question is, would policies change our way of thinking by how we move actually?
Maybe you have a reply or it's another question, otherwise we answer to. Okay. Short question, eh?
Yes. 10 minutes, okay? I'm joking. How you have the guarantee, like, if we choose a train, that the train use like energy and not fuel, or that the ways that we will produce the energy to use in the train are from renewable sources and not from the coal? Because if we will use a train that its power is made by coal, probably we will be more CO2 emissive than if we choose a plane. So it's more like that. How we have the guarantee to spend more time and more money, and that time and that money will be for construct a new coal power plant or a new fuel power plant.
I think for the fast trains in Germany, the ICE, they have like guarantee that it's like a green energy. So they say it's not from coal or something. So it's green energy. So they promise that, I think. And also, if that's not the case, I'm not sure if going by a train which uses energy from coal is worse than taking a plane, but it's about the numbers. I'm not sure about that, but it could be the other way around.
So there was the last question, I guess.
Yeah, I just wanted to answer about going to Jena with train, for example. Yeah, that would be a great idea. The problem is also money, but you had a solution for that. I just checked between Poitiers and Jena. It says you need 13 hours, but you have to take into consideration that you need several trains, and Poitiers is like in the west of France. So you have to go first to Paris or Strasbourg, for example, and then cross Germany. So yeah, I think there's a lot to do, but we have to take into consideration every university and that we're very far away. We don't always have the time to do all of that. And yes, so let's see what solutions we can find about that. But it might be easy for some universities, for other not. And yeah, that's just what I wanted to point out.
Sure, the next forum will be in May, so we have time to think about how to sustainably reach the next destination. So thanks to all of you. Again, thanks to everybody to attend this session. I think that leaving with the question how to reach the next forum in Jena, it's the good question to how to approach the end of the forum and say all of us, see you soon in May. So I give the floor to the next session. So thanks a lot to all the students.